Imagine the scene. It is May 1940. The German war machine is pushing through France. British soldiers are falling back, trying to hold the line against a powerful enemy. In the small French village of L'Épinette, a British officer peers over his cover. He isn't holding a standard-issue rifle. Instead, he carefully pulls back the string of a longbow. The arrow is aimed at a distant German patrol. The world of modern warfare, with its tanks and machine guns, fades away for a moment. This is a scene from the Middle Ages, brought to life in the middle of the Second World War. The officer lets the arrow fly. It soars through the air with a silent, deadly purpose. This officer was no ordinary soldier. His name was Lieutenant John Churchill, but he was better known by a nickname he earned, Mad Jack. The name perfectly captured his spirit. He was a man who believed in doing things his own way, even on the battlefield. Churchill was born in Hong Kong in 1906 and educated at the Royal Military College, Sandhurst. He was an adventurer at heart. Before the war, he had represented Great Britain in the World Archery Championships and even had a small part in a movie. He was a man who loved excitement and wasn't afraid to stand out from the crowd. His unique character would make him a legend. The arrow he fired in France found its mark. It struck a German NCO, making Churchill the last known British soldier to get a kill with a longbow in a major war. This incredible act set the tone for his entire military career. For Churchill, a battle was not just about fighting, it was about style and audacity. He carried his bow into battle because he could. He believed in the power of surprise and in using every weapon at his disposal, no matter how old-fashioned it seemed to other people. His comrades in the Manchester Regiment must have been amazed to see him using a weapon from the time of Agincourt. This event was just the beginning for Mad Jack. After his unit was forced to retreat from L'Épinette, his reputation started to grow. The story of the longbow shot was told and retold. It showed his incredible bravery and his refusal to conform to the normal rules of warfare. He was a throwback to an earlier time, a knight in battle dress. His actions were not just for show, they were effective. The silent arrow caused confusion and fear among the enemy patrol. It proved that in the chaos of war, the unexpected could be a powerful weapon. Mad Jack had made his first mark on history. Mad Jack Churchill was a man who marched to the beat of his own drum, or in his case, to the sound of his own bagpipes. His military kit was unlike any other officers in the British Army. Alongside his rifle and grenades, he always carried 3 essential items: his trusty longbow, a set of bagpipes, and a basket-hilted claymore, which is a type of Scottish broadsword. To many, these weapons seemed like relics from a bygone era, more suited to a museum than a modern battlefield. But to Churchill, they were vital tools of war. He believed they gave him a psychological edge over the enemy, creating fear and confusion. His reasoning was as unique as his equipment. He argued that the sound of bagpipes was terrifying. He knew that the skirl of the pipes had struck fear into the hearts of Britain's enemies for centuries, and he saw no reason why the German army should be any different. The sword was a symbol of his fighting spirit. It was a declaration that he was ready for close-quarters combat, a personal challenge to anyone who dared to face him. While other officers planned their attacks with maps and radios, Churchill planned his with a sense of theater and a deep understanding of human psychology. He knew that a charging soldier with a sword was a truly frightening sight. This unique approach to warfare was not just some personal quirk, it was part of a deliberate strategy. Churchill understood that war was not only a physical contest, but also a mental one. By being so unpredictable, he kept the enemy off balance. A German soldier expecting to face machine gun fire would be completely bewildered by the sound of the March of the Cameron Men played on the bagpipes. This element of surprise could break their morale before a single shot was fired from his side. His fellow soldiers, in turn, were inspired by his incredible courage and his refusal to be intimidated by the modern German army. His superiors in the British military were often unsure what to make of him. Some likely thought he was eccentric, perhaps even a little crazy, hence the Mad Jack nickname. But his bravery and effectiveness in combat were undeniable. He was a born leader who led from the front, and his men would follow him anywhere. He joined the Commandos, the elite special forces unit, because their daring raids and unconventional tactics perfectly suited his adventurous personality. In the Commandos, Mad Jack found a home where his unique skills were not just tolerated, but celebrated as a valuable asset to the war effort. One of Churchill's most famous exploits took place during a commando raid in Norway in December 1941. The target was a German garrison on the island of WWII. As the landing craft approached the shore under heavy fire, Churchill stood at the front. But he wasn't firing a gun. Instead, he was playing his bagpipes. The powerful, defiant sound of the march of the Cameron men echoed across the water, cutting through the noise of battle. When the ramp dropped, he threw his pipes aside, drew his great claymore sword, and was the first man to charge up the beach towards the German positions. It was a truly astonishing sight. This incredible act of bravado was not his only taste of sword-point action. Later in the war, in 1943, he was fighting in Italy near the town of Salerno. Leading his commandos on a night raid, he and a corporal infiltrated a German-held village. Using the darkness as their cover, they moved silently from position to position. Churchill, with his sword in hand, was the master of the silent attack. He would appear out of the shadows, a terrifying figure with a gleaming blade. The German sentries were so shocked and terrified by the sight of an officer with a sword that they surrendered without a fight. The raid on the Italian village was a masterclass in psychological warfare. Churchill and his single corporal managed to capture an astonishing 42 German soldiers and a mortar crew. They achieved this incredible feat by creating the illusion that they were a much larger force. Churchill would have one group of prisoners march away, then circle back to make it seem like more soldiers were being taken captive. His calm, commanding presence and the ever-present threat of his sword were enough to control the entire situation. It was a victory won not with overwhelming firepower, but with sheer, audacious courage and clever thinking. These stories from Norway and Italy cemented Mad Jack's reputation as a true legend of the war. He led by example, never asking his men to do anything he wasn't prepared to do himself. His actions showed that even in the age of industrial warfare, the spirit of a single determined warrior could still make a huge difference. He fought with the weapons of his ancestors, but his mindset was perfectly suited for the chaos of commando operations. His blend of ancient bravery and modern tactics made him one of the most effective and inspirational officers in the British Army. Mad Jack Churchill's career was full of moments that sound like they belong in a work of fiction. He was eventually captured in Yugoslavia after being knocked unconscious by a grenade blast. He was sent to Sachsenhausen concentration camp, but a man like Churchill could not be held for long. He and another officer crawled under the wire and escaped, attempting to walk all the way to the Baltic coast. They were recaptured, but his spirit was unbroken. He was later moved to another camp in Austria, and when the camp's lighting system failed, he simply walked away and made his way to Italy, where he found the American army. His adventures continued even after the war in Europe ended. He was disappointed to learn the war with Japan had finished while he was traveling, as he was eager to get back into the fight. His actions were always driven by a love of adventure and a deep-seated sense of duty. He was not reckless for the sake of it. His unusual methods were calculated to be effective. He understood that inspiring his own men and terrifying the enemy were just as important as the number of bullets fired. His bravery was legendary, earning him the Distinguished Service Order and Bar, as well as the Military Cross and Bar, some of Britain's highest awards for gallantry. The legend of Mad Jack Churchill is a reminder that history is made by individuals. In a global conflict that involved millions, the story of one man with a sword, a bow, and a set of bagpipes continues to capture the imagination. He stands out because he was completely authentic. He did not care what others thought of his methods. He trusted his own instincts and fought the war on his own terms. His unique style made him a beacon of defiance and courage, a symbol of the unconventional spirit that helped the Allies to victory. He was a true original in a world that often demands conformity. His personal motto perfectly sums up his entire life and character. It was simple and direct. Any officer who goes into action without his sword is improperly dressed. This single sentence reveals everything you need to know about him. It shows his commitment to leading from the front, his connection to the long traditions of military history, and his unwavering belief in the importance of courage and personal style. For Mad Jack Churchill, being a soldier was not just a job, it was a calling, and he answered that call with a bravery and flair that will never be forgotten.